So you've been looking for how to make that iconic looking college apparel, right? And you know what I'm talking about. It's the big slab serif across the chest with some icon in the middle, maybe some filler text. Well, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that using Kittl. We don't need to go anywhere else. Everything you need, fonts, illustrations, it's already in Kittl, ready to go. And by the way, if you're new to Kittl, that's our online design tool. It works right in your browser, and I'd love for you to try it out. If you haven't already, you can sign up using the link in the description, and then you can follow along with me. So let's get started. All right, to get started, we're going to add text. You can hit the T button to do that quickly, and then we're going to type in Colorado because I'm making a Colorado Raptors design. I just made that up, but I think it will make a pretty cool design. Now, in the fonts, I'm going to use Tricot, which is already this collegiate style font. You can see it's a really nice blocky slab serif. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add some effects to give it that more collegiate, that college vibe. So let's change it to orange. We're going to use Colorado colors for this, by the way. And then over here in the effects panel, I'm going to give it that shading, that block shadow effect. I'm going to do a little bit of tweaking here. Let's change the background color of that shadow to yellow. So now we have that shadow as yellow. And then I'm going to add some outer width, just an additional outer width to it. And then once we do some fine tweaking, maybe we change this to 7 right here, then we can add even more border weight around the text, and let's change that to this kind of creamish white color, and now it gives it that really cool effect. Now you can obviously mess with this. You can increase it and decrease it to get it where you need it. You can also just type in a number to make sense. I'm going to make it that same number 7, and then once we feel pretty good about where that is, we can give it a little bit more spacing. I think it was a little too close together, and then what we need to do is give it this arched effect here. And so it's going to give you this kind of preset arched effect here, but you can easily change that. You can tweak it if you want, and all you have to do is go down here into the right side, and you can hit reset transformation, and what that'll do is put it way back at the beginning, which is this 80% part of the curve here. And then of course you could move this slider around to get it right where you want it. I think maybe a little bit less of an intense curve would be best, maybe right around this percent right here. And then what we're going to do is make the C and the O stand out a lot more. So right now we need to take away the C and the O from this main text, and of course it's center aligned, so it's going to stay right there, which is really nice. That's exactly where we want it. Now let's paste it, which you can do with Command C or Control C and Command or Control V. And then we're going to align left. You see when I hit justify left, it went all the way to the left because the text box is the same size and it follows this curve, which is a nice little kind of neat hack. Then I can just increase it like this really easily. I can increase the size of the C, just tweak it with my arrow keys slightly, and then we're going to do the same thing on the other side as well with the O. So we'll duplicate it, boom, make it the O, and then what we can do is we can check the text size to make sure it's exactly the same and tweak it with our arrow keys. So now once we're feeling pretty good about that, let's just make sure that we do some fine tweaking, because when you add size to your text, it increases the width as well, so we need to make that all correct. We need to change it back to the 7 number. So you want to do the same thing on the C as well. Just make sure you're checking out those widths. So now what we want to do is change the background color to blue. Again, we're using those Colorado colors, as well as it just helps us see what we're doing. I'm going to duplicate this text here. I'm going to take off the arch effect, and then what we're going to do is take off some of these effects. I think they're a little bit too intense for filler text, which is what we're about to work on. I want to make it that creamish white color, and then what we're going to do is we're going to use ESTD for our established, and then I'll make it smaller. I'm going to put it here on the left, and then I'm going to put the actual year over on the right. Again, you can drag, you can hold the Alt or Option key and drag. Now what we need to do is find a badge, which we have a ton over in the left side panel. I think this badge looks pretty good. Now we need to tweak some colors. We need to make sure that those are in the same Colorado color palette that we've been using. Hey, if you're getting value out of this college apparel style tutorial, I'd love if you would hit that thumbs up button and that red subscribe button so you don't miss any other videos. And by the way, I don't know if you saw, but I made a full tutorial using the Cricut, and I made another college style apparel with Kittl Academy in the middle of it. It was a lot of fun to make, and it's a full step-by-step process all the way from exporting your Kittl design, putting it into the Cricut, and even using the heat press to make a shirt. So if you've been thinking about getting a Cricut, or if you have a Cricut already and you're wondering if Kittl is going to work, I think that would be the perfect video to check out. Now let's get back to the tutorial. And now what we can do is we can go up here and we can search for a wreath, or what you might also commonly known as a laurel, which is this kind of left and right floral wreath looking style, or laurel again. And so what we're going to do is kind of make this really cool, neat badge effect out of combining it with this laurel and the badge in the middle. So let's of course make sure that it is in the Colorado color palette. I think that's looking pretty good. It does look like it's blending in with the kind of outer outline of that badge. And then we'll find an eagle, and I'm going to put it here in the center, and then we're going to tweak some colors. I don't want it to be too intense. I am going to give it this kind of border weight. You can give objects border weight, by the way, if you didn't know that. I'm going to put some rays behind the eagle just to give it a more intense kind of glowy effect, but still subtle in the background of this badge. And then I'm going to use our awesome monogram font for C&R Colorado Raptors. This was also a pretty big component of old collegiate style apparel, old collegiate badges and things like that, to have some kind of cool monogram. I'm going to use that same kind of creamish off color, and I think that's looking pretty good. I think that looks really solid. Let's add some stars to fill the top left and right parts of that badge. I think there's a little bit too much space, so that's looking pretty good. And now what we can do is add a banner. We also have a whole category of banners, which is going to be super easy for you to find. Then we can easily tweak the colors. I'm just going to do that really quickly for you here. I'm going to bring the eagle to the front to kind of make it look like it's grabbing that banner. And then we're going to add some filler text here down in the bottom. Again, it's not really going to be in your face. We're just adding some specific filler text, and then we're going to use the custom transform here, where you can see I'm using all these little anchor points to easily align it into the banner. You don't have to use any kind of crazy software. You can do it right here to change and warp your text just like that. So now let's add Raptors down here, but instead of using the blocky font, we're going to use this more thin kind of very Art Deco style font, but it is reminiscent of the old style collegiate branding, if you will. And so what we're going to do is give this kind of a cool effect. So if I hit the Distort button there in Transform, I can grab and hold an anchor point on the side, and then I can make sure that I use the same height on the left side if I turn on the grid by hitting Command or Control apostrophe. Over there on the right side of your keyboard, it's most likely next to the Enter symbol or the Enter key. And then what I can do is grab these points on the left and right, and when I drag them in towards the center, it becomes sharp. It's no longer warped in terms of like being skewed or kind of arched like the top text. Now it's really sharp. You can see it's kind of angled. It gives that really cool perspective, like it's going downward and then it's coming back out on the upper right side. So let's bring this to the front. Let's give it a little bit of detail, not as much as the top. We are going to give it some shadow, some block shadow. I'm going to give it a little bit of decoration, but again, not too much. I'm just bringing those down, tweaking with it a little bit. And now what we can do is if you click on a flag in like Wikipedia, you can download it right here. Boom. Typically you can get an SVG from this, just from a site, you know, like Wikipedia. And then what I can do is I can upload it over here on the left. Boom. Now I have, you can see the object colors up in the top right, and I'm just going to tweak this a little bit to make sure it's the same color palette that I've been using. And then I can add some simple components, some spot elements here on the left and right to make that flag kind of stand out a little bit. Now I'm just going to do a little bit of tweaking, make sure all of my layers are grouped, and then to export I want to remove the background because I'm going to put this on a shirt. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to size this up a little bit, okay? I'm just going to make this a little bit larger. You can play around with the specs to get them exactly how you need it. And then once you're ready with that, you can go ahead and download a PNG. So here is our college apparel design mocked up on a crew neck sweater, very reminiscent of that really nice collegiate style with the slab serif. So I hope you have a ton of fun creating your own college apparel designs. Now, if you want to see other tutorials using Kittl, I have these videos here on my right that I know you're going to enjoy. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any upcoming videos and features and things like that. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.